Well, good morning, grade 9 students. Oh my goodness, we're excited to come and talk to you today about course selection. Now you're wondering, who on earth are these people? Well, my name is Ms. Doyle. I'm the guidance counselor for all students with the last names A through C. Next to me, we have the wonderful and talented Mr. McDonald, who deals with all students with the last names N through Z, including the mix and the max. And of course, the ever knowledgeable Ms. Ellsworth, who also deals with students through the letters of D through M, but not the mix and max, because Mr. McDonald and Mac deals with the mix and max. So today, folks, we are here to talk to you about course selection for the 2021-22 school year. I know, you're like, can it be that time already? Are we really here again? Yes, we are, folks. Time has flown in this COVID world. And of course, you know, because we had to get out of the winter blahs and had to get away from the COVID nonsense, we're coming to you live from, of course, our tropical location in a very remote area of the South Pacific where no one else is. Yes, COVID-free, folks, but, you know, because we have to be together so close, we still have to wear masks until later on when we hit the beach, and then we'll stay 6 feet apart in our lounge chairs with our pineapple juice. I love a good pineapple juice, folks. So today we want to talk to you though about course selection. Don't get too distracted by the beach and the wind and the palm trees. Focus, of course, on course selection. Very vital process, is it not, Ms. Ellsworth?
It is a very important process, and we want you to pay close attention to some of the advice that we're giving you, because we feel it's really important, and we hope you're listening with all ears.
Well, we're going to start with saying welcome to grade 10.
Indeed.
Because going into grade 10, you move into a different system. You go into a credit system.
The credit system.
Each course you take is a credit. If it's a full year course, then it's 2 credits. And credits do matter. You have to accumulate a certain number of credits in a certain number of baskets to graduate. You need 18 credits to graduate. And if of that 18, 13 are compulsory. For example, you need 3 different grade level Englishes. You will need 3 different grade level math. You'll have to have at least 2 different sciences. And you need a technology credit. If you have an extra math or an extra science above the minimum requirements, they can also be counted as a technology credit as well. You will need a fine arts credit. You will need a physical education credit, keeping in mind that when I say a phys ed credit, there are half a dozen different phys ed courses that you can take and several different fine arts courses that you can take. You will also need a Canadian history credit, and you will need a global studies credit from grade 12. On top of that, you're going to understand that when you start to fill out your course selection, that you need to take 7 grade 10 courses, but you will have to choose 8. That 8th course should be a grade 11 selection. And there's plenty to choose from that are available to you.
Indeed.
And then, of course, you're going to need a certain number of electives. One of the things that we do in grade 10, everybody gets scheduled for the full 2 semesters, so that's 4 courses in each semester, a total of 8 for the year. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit more about them, and so we'll start with the course selections.
Okay, so when you're choosing your courses, you want to think about what your strengths are. We all have strengths and weaknesses. I know I do. So make sure that you're listening to the feedback from your grade 9 teachers, as well as what you've learned over your grade 9 year about your strengths and weaknesses. You might also want to consider what your future plans are. Obviously, we don't expect grade 9 students to have it all figured out. Some students in grade 12 haven't yet figured it out. But certainly, you need to start thinking in general terms, maybe thinking about whether you want to go to university, whether you want to go to college. So just start thinking about those things. And remember that you're entering a credit system, and every course you take will be recorded on your transcript, and that transcript is what post-secondary institutions are going to be looking at. So it is a permanent record.
Well, thank you. Now, lot of people are wondering, what about math? What math course should I take? You're coming out of Math 9, or you're coming out of French Immersion Math 9. Well, to help you with that, your math teacher will make that selection for you. It's a recommendation that they put forward, and that's automatically entered into the course selection for you. Excuse me. Now, your math teachers spend a fair bit of time getting to know you as math students, and they will recommend you for one of the 3 grade levels that we have in grade 10. Now, should you not agree with that, or should your mom or dad or parents not agree with that, that's okay. They can send myself an email, or Ms. Doyle an email, or Ms. Ellsworth an email, and then we can go in and manually change that course selection for that grade level of math. But there needs to be a conversation before we do that, to make sure that the necessary supports are put in place to help make you successful in your math program in grade 10. Keeping in mind, in math, you have to have 1 math course at grade 10, 1 in grade 11, and 1 in grade 12. Some math courses are half a year long, 1 semester, and some are 2 full year. So if you have a full year Math 10, you will get 2 credits. The second credit will count as a technology credit. And if you're doing a single semester math, then you will have to pick up an additional course to round out your 8.
Okay, and some of you are probably going to want to continue on in French Immersion, and we think that's a great idea. But in high school, there are certain requirements that you need to follow in order to get your French Immersion certificate. You must complete 9 French Immersion courses in order to get your French Immersion certificate. You must take French Immersion at each grade level, so Francais 10, 11, and 12. And you must take at least 2 French credits each year. So keep in mind that there are minimum requirements in order to get your French Immersion certificate. Some students in grade 10 will complete 5 French Immersion courses, and then in grade 11 and grade 12 they need only take 2 French courses. Some students take 4 in their grade 10 year, and then they take 3 in grade 11 and 2 in grade 12. And some students take 3 each year to give them a total of 9 when they finish to get their French Immersion certificate. So if you are one of those students who are going to pursue your French Immersion in high school, make sure that you're aware of those minimum requirements.
And if you happen to forget all that Ms. Ellsworth has said, we do have this wonderful thing called the course selection booklet. It is online. If you go to Lockview website under our school and then go to departments, you'll see the Guidance Student Services Department, and in there you'll see all the information such as the course selection booklet that's there for you to use. There's a whole page, I believe it's page 5 or so, that's on French Immersion, page 9, specifically on French Immersion and the courses that are available. And there's lots of useful information in there as well. I would recommend that there's a graduation planner, which is on page 13, which you can print off and helps you to select your courses each year, progressing towards your grade 12 year. And as Mr. McDonald mentioned, the graduation requirements, that's on page, I believe, page 5 of the course selection booklet. So go look online. We were unable to produce them this year and hand them out to everybody due to the COVID. So everything's online this year, folks. But use this resource. It's very valuable. It has a description of all the courses you need and exactly of what is required from you. All right? So it talks about French Immersion, it talks about math, and it talks about the requirements for graduation. The other thing I want to mention to you is that some of you are in instrumental band with Ms. Burt, and if you're planning to continue in band, that would certainly count as a fine arts credit, as Mr. McDonald alluded to, that you need 1 to graduate. So we would encourage you to continue on with your band. When you make a selection in the portal, as you did in grade 8 coming into grade 9, you chose your courses in the portal, so everybody get their Power School ready to go. You will see, for when you're picking band, you also have to pick English 10 music, because what happens is one day you'll have band, the next day you'll have English, the next day you'll have band, the next day you'll have English. And so when you're doing your course selections, if you pick music 10 as your fine arts credit, You also, when you pick your English, have to pick English 10 MU, meaning music. If you happen to forget, hopefully we'll catch that when we meet with you all to talk about your course selections in March. But I just want to caution you, for band students, pick English 10 MU, all right? Now, since we're speaking of fine arts credits, I should mention that there are some other fabulous fine arts credits available. What you have to remember, though, folks, is that fine arts credits are performance courses for the most part, meaning that you will have to talk to people. You will have to interact with people. You may have to present things in class, all right? So, now your teachers will be very kind and they're not going to make it a scary process, but we just want to caution you that if you're in Drama 10 with the wonderful and talented Mr. Downing, like, how can you not love that guy? Honest to God. You're going to have to actually like perform skits or do improv or things like that. It's a performance course. The same as music, right? All of you folks that have been taking band, you're very familiar that you have to sometimes do solos. Now I believe they're being taped this year because of the COVID and things like that. But there are solo performances. And of course in art courses, you may have to speak to the medium you use, you may have to speak to the technique you use. Your artwork may be presented in the school so that people can see it. So just know that there is a performance aspect. Now, we recommend that, of course, in grade 10 you take your fine arts credit, because to do grade 11, there's an expectation, or a prerequisite really, that you've taken the grade 10 level previously, all right? So we would recommend you do your fine arts credit, for sure, in grade 10.
Okay, and as Mr. McDonald alluded to at the beginning of the presentation, you have to have a minimum of 2 science credits. All students in grade 10 take Science 10
Correct.
or Sciences 10 in French, and you have the option of taking another science course in grade 10. You can choose either Biology 11 or Oceans 11. You are not eligible to take chemistry or physics or food science or some of the other science courses that we offer until you're in grade 11. But if you're interested in biology or oceans, please read the handy-dandy description in the course selection guide and find out what it's all about to make sure that it fits for you.
You know what? I forgot to mention, we also have Art Dramatique for fine arts. I'm sorry, we're going back now. Like, I apologize for that. Slipped my mind. There is Art Dramatique 10 for those French immersion students that would prefer to take their drama in French. I apologize profusely, folks, for my lack of planning here. Clearly, it's all on me. But, Mr. McDonald, there are some technology options.
Well, let me put my glasses on so that you can understand that I'm fairly serious about what I'm about to say.
Dead serious. He loves tech. Loves it.
Before I get to tech, Ms. Doyle mentioned that you're going to have your power school.
Oh,
Without
yes.
your power school, you can't get on the portal, and without getting on the portal, you can't select your courses.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
And in order to get your power school, all you have to do is to drop into the guidance office and see Miss Daigle, and she'll provide you with your power school.
It may take her a day or two, just so you're aware. This doesn't happen overnight. She's a very busy woman, but she will get to it for you. She's very kind and lovely that way.
And as an added bonus, you could meet your guidance counselor.
Might be able
We would
to.
love to meet you.
Indeed, indeed. Get your technology together, folks. It's going to be needed.
Absolutely. And we can't underscore that you should sit down with your parents or guardians and go through the booklet online and come with a list of courses with a couple of alternative courses as well,
Yes.
just in case we can't fully schedule everybody for everything that they want.
Right.
Now,
Those
that's
alternates are important.
They are indeed. Now, that being said, you are going to require some technology courses. So what's available to us for technology? To meet your technology requirement, if you have an extra math, as I mentioned before about math 10, that second semester credit or course, or second semester counts as a second credit, that counts as your technology. However, we also have construction technology, we also have exploring technology, we also have several other options as well. Read through the course guideline online and choose some that you think might interest you or might be an area you want to explore. Now, that being said, as far as your grade 11 courses go, because we are going to ask you to pick a grade 11 course to go along with your 7 grade 10 selections, you have a Canadian history that's a requirement. Now you can take your Canadian history in grade 11, or you can take it in grade 10. We have Gaelic studies, we have...
Oh, I have a poster. I have a poster, Gaelic studies. That Mr. Wallace, he's on it, eh? He's on it. Yeah.
It's a great course, an interesting course. We also have African Nova Scotian studies.
Mm-hmm.
We have Mi'kmaq studies, and we have Canadian history.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 4 choices to choose from that A, count as a Canadian history credit, and B, count as a credit in grade 10. That's a grade 11 course. That's an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me underscore as well, we will not be permitting course changes after April 15th. So up until April 15th, you need to put in your course selections in the portal. You need to review the ones that you've been that you've put in, and review them with your parents. And then if you want to make a change, as long as the portal's open, you can change it online. And if the portal's closed, but it's closed before the 15th, then you just email myself or Ms. Doyle or Ms. Ellsworth with add this, drop that.
Mm-hmm.
But the 15th is the deadline, so that we're not trying to change courses, because then we have to schedule the school after that.
Exactly. Like really, up until the 15th of April, the world is your oyster for changing. You can willy-nilly change whatever you would like. Of course, we pray not too many times, but you really can. But once that April 15th deadline hits, then we are staffing. So if 30 people signed up for, let's say, Gaelic studies. Let's say 60 people signed up for Gaelic studies. And then all of a sudden, 30 people changed their mind. We've already got a Gaelic studies teacher, but we may not have a person to teach an extra block of whatever it is people are selecting, right? So once we start staffing and scheduling, it gets far more difficult to change, because we don't have the staff necessarily to make all the changes you would like to have happen.
But the good thing is that you will get the courses that you choose, including maybe your alternates, because we always make sure that we take care of what students are interested in taking. As Ms. Doyle and Mr. McDonald said, it's the changes that can be difficult. But you will always get your first choices or your alternates.
And so we want to caution you, just to remember that your alternates are courses that you may receive. So make sure when you pick those, number one, that it's not the same as your course above that you selected, because then we're just going to have to find you and ask you to change them. And number two, that they are courses you'd be willing to take if they go into your schedule. All right? So really, in grade 10, you were picking 10 courses, really. 8 that you're hoping to get, and 2 as backups, all right? And that saves us from making a ton of phone calls or tracking people down the building to say, what would you like for alternates? So when you go into the portal, so you're all logged into Power School, you'll see course registration, much the same you did last year when we came out and met with you at your feeder schools. You'll click onto course registration, you'll see the page for grade 10 students. In there, you'll have to pick an English. The math will be placed in by your teacher, and Mr. McDonald spoke to how you would override that if you needed to. Although remember, your teachers did a lot of research and homework themselves on what would be a good placement for you. You will have to pick Science 10, either in English or French. So if you're French immersion, you'll pick it in French. If you're a French immersion student, you'd have to pick Francais. You'll also have to pick a Canadian history required course. We prefer you to pick your fine arts course. And of course, there's phys ed options as well that you can choose to do in grade 10 or you could do in grade 11. So the portal is going to be open from the day you see this presentation right through until about the 25th of February, folks. So you have a few weeks to sit, do some research, talk with your folks, talk with your friends, talk to your teachers, have lots of conversations. And then on the 25th, we're going to close the portal. At that point, we are going to do our homework, and we're going to look at your selections, we're going to have some conversations with teachers, and look at whether you've made some good, wise choices there. Most, I would say, 99% of students do.
Yeah.
99%. However, at that point, we're going to review your selections, and in the month of March, we're going to come out and we're going to visit with each one of you, mass on, of course, so we can talk to you about your selections, ask you about any post-secondary plans you're tentatively thinking about, making sure that your selections match that. And then, of course, if you want to make any changes, we can certainly make any changes at that time when we're meeting. So we'll be available all the month of March to meet with our students. So it takes us a while, so if you don't get to your class on the first day, don't worry, we will be there before the end of March, at the latest, the first week of April. And after that, then we close down course selection and we now move on to scheduling. All right? So that's kind of the deadline. So the February 25th, the portal closes. April 15th, course changes sort of come to an end. And after that, we're into scheduling and all of that. We're getting ready for the new year. Hard to believe. And hopefully next year it's a new year without these, eh? Whew, we can only hope. We can only hope. God love the vaccine that's coming. Although, you know, it's always a personal choice. I will say that. Anyhow, so anything else you can think of, folks? That
Invest time into the booklet.
yes.
Look online, ask questions, and don't be shy to get in touch with your guidance counselor before you pick course selections.
Exactly. So know, folks, that during all this time we are available via email, or if your grade 9 teacher finds that a lot of you has a bunch of questions, we are more than happy to pop down to your class and have some discussion around that. If we can answer a bunch of questions all at once, that'd be great. Otherwise, we're available via email. We normally do a parent night as well, but of course with the COVID, we can't have large gatherings of people. So hopefully, you know, your parents are able to watch this presentation if they would like. And if they have any questions, once again, we're available via email. Because once we're out in classrooms in the month of March, it's hard to get a hold of us in the office, really, because we're in classrooms visiting with folks, talking about the course selections, and that's literally a 3 to 4 week process. But we feel it's valuable because, you know what, we should spend at least a bit of our time with you every year to go over such a valuable, important thing. And as Mr. McDonald said, don't forget the course selection booklet.
And I think I speak for all of us that we can't wait to meet you all.
Yes.
It's going to be a great opportunity to sit and see your faces and get to know, well, we'll see this part of your faces. But we really look forward to meeting you all and getting to know you, because we've got a 3-year journey ahead of us together, and we need to work together and do everything we can to make sure that you reach all the goals that you have.
Indeed. Well, for now, I guess we're going to be signing off. I personally am going to have a bit of a pineapple juice. I'm not sure where Mr. McDonald's headed.
I'm headed to the shuffleboard game on the beach.
Indeed. Mr. McDonald, he is fair-skinned. I don't think he'll be laying out on the beach, but you might find him next to the pool. All right, folks, so we'll see you soon in the month of March, and we'll talk about your course selections. Thanks so much for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day.